This is Hokies All Access, produced by your official local television home of the Virginia Tech Hokies, in association with Virginia Tech Sports Properties. Hokies All Access.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Jermaine Ferrell, hoping your day is wonderful and blessed. Like butter, let's get on the roll, baby, with a little thing we like to call Hokies All Access. Now, in our opening drive segment of Hokies All Access, with first quarter action, congratulations to 3 former Hokies in getting a Super Bowl win as part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they did knock off the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9. Congratulations to Tampa Bay head coach Bruce Arians, a former Hokie QB, assistant coach Cody Grimm, and assistant coach Nick Rapone, as they are Super Bowl champs. All right, folks, Jermaine Ferrell in the house. We have full booth, and joining me each and every week is Virginia Tech Hall of Famer Mike Burnup. And Mike, we got so many things we're going to talk about in these 2 full booth segments, and we'll probably hop around to a lot of that, but that's okay. That's how we roll. But one thing, let's start off with the big news, obviously. Your teammate as head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bruce Arians, bringing home that Super Bowl title, winning over the Tampa Bay Bucs. First of all, just your thoughts and feelings about that.
Well, I was so excited for Bruce and Chris. You know, he's been down a long road, Jermaine, when you think about all the stops that he's been and all the moves that they made and all the health issues that he had. And, you know, he retired from coaching after he left the Arizona Cardinals a couple of years ago, got into the broadcast booth, and, you know, he enjoyed what he was doing there, but didn't like the travel. Then he took the year off, and then he gets back into it. You know, he had an opportunity to coach Tampa Bay in a great situation with a team that had a good young quarterback in Jameis Winston. And, you know, he had a great opportunity that they couldn't turn down. And so he was back into it. And then obviously the opportunity to get Tom Brady and some of the weapons that he brought with him, Gronkowski and getting Leonard Fournette. And, you know, I mean, it was just an AB, Antonio Brown. You just think of everything he was able to do. I'm just so excited for them that it worked out. And it was, he said all along, even back in the summer when I was with him at the lake, you know, it was Super Bowl or bust. And they hadn't had any off-season workouts or any of that kind of stuff. So I think when you look at the big picture and you saw what Tom Brady was able to bring to the franchise in terms of his leadership, experience, his will to win, his work ethic, it rubbed off onto the team. And BA just had a heck of a run. I was just the way they won all those 3 games on the road in the playoffs, pretty phenomenal. And Tom Brady, obviously the GOAT, 7 Super Bowls, pretty amazing, isn't it?
That is something else. And, you know, obviously the personal relationship you have with Bruce Arians, but I tell you one thing, when I look at Bruce Arians, Mike, he is, if there's a, you know, we had a definition of cool in the dictionary, we would see Bruce Arians with his Kangol hat and just, he's just so cool. I mean, to me, I'm sure you could elaborate even more on that, but to me, Bruce Arians is cool.
He is, and he's a player's coach. I mean, he tells it like it is. He doesn't mince words. You know, he kind of called out Tom Brady and people went berserk. Like, what do you mean he threw a bad pass or it was his fault? You know, people weren't, they were kind of shocked at some of the comments he made. But that's just the way he is. The players love him. They respect him. You know, he's the first one in the parking lot that'll be handing out drinks after a game if he's got them in the trunk of his car. I mean, he likes to have a good time. We had a great time this summer. And just a little story, you know, all the time he was coming up through the ranks, Jermaine, Bruce was one of those guys that missed a lot of time with his kids and a lot of time when they had events. Well, now Bruce is the kind of guy that says, look, if you don't go to your kid's high school game, their dance recital, miss a PTA meeting, he said, I'm going to fire you. I mean, that's just the way he is. He wants them to, football's important, but it's not the most important thing in the world. He just felt like he missed so much time when he was on his way up to working with guys like the Bear Bryants of the world, that that was important. And he kind of, you know, the coaches love him for that as well. So he's just, he's one in a million, not their typical NFL coach. And just got to love that about him. Even when he called out Belichick, you know, like Tom Brady never had a chance to do any coaching when he was in New England, right? But Bruce will listen to him and they collaborate and they come up with a great plan.
And then two other Hokie connections, Cody Grimm, of course, All-American for Virginia Tech, and Nick Rapone. Just talk about those two gentlemen real quick. As I mean, like I said, I mean, it's so great to see the Hokie connection, Hokie pride. Again, Cody Grimm and Nick Rapone.
Well, you think of Cody Grimm. I mean, the guy was a walk-on and became an All-American, had all those forced fumbles that one year, and they ended up drafting him, Jermaine. So he had a little familiarity down there with Tampa Bay and the organization. And for the chance to go back down there and coach with BA and Bruce and have such a good time, that's just phenomenal, especially what he was able to do with his career from a walk-on standpoint. And then Nick Rapone, you know, he was here, you know, later on and right after Bruce was here, I guess. And so they knew each other pretty well. Nick coached with Bruce at Temple, and he's been with him at a lot of the different stops that he's been at. And when he was available to come back to Tampa Bay after Bruce was out of it, he got him back. And so, yeah, that Hokie connection is strong there. And, you know, Bruce credits his organization because they got the biggest staff in the NFL. But he credits the owners of the team for letting him do that. And now they got the Super Bowl to back it up. That was a fanny whipping they put on Kansas City.
It sure is. And speaking of cool things, of course, he said he's coming back. So that's the cool thing. But we're not done talking Full Booth. When we come back with more Full Booth, we're going to focus on Virginia Tech basketball, the round ball. Tech with a cool, impressive win. I want to get your thoughts on that. We'll do that later on in the show with Full Booth right here on Hokies All Access. And coming up on Hokies All Access, we have an update on the Hokie winter sports. Stick and stay, please.
Produced by your official local television home of the Hokies. This is Hokies All Access.
And welcome back to the Maroon and Orange Express, also known as Hokies All Access. Now in our Hokies highlights segment of Hokies All Access with second quarter action. First off, we talk about Virginia Tech men's hoops as this week, as their game this past Tuesday against Florida State was postponed due to COVID issues with FSU. Now the game on Saturday against Louisville at the Castle was moved to March the 3rd due to COVID trouble within the Cards program. Meanwhile, on the court, the Hokies, now ranked 18th, rallied late in overtime to defeat Miami 80-76 last Saturday afternoon. Justin Mutz had an all-around performance as he recorded a season-high 22 points along with 7 assists and 9 rebounds. Hunter Couture drilled a buzzer-beating triple to send the game to overtime at 74. And after his thrilling victory last week that won the meet for the Virginia Tech wrestling team, Sam Latona was named the ACC Wrestler of the Week, the conference announcing this on Tuesday. Now, with the 8th-ranked Hokies trailing the 3rd-ranked Wolfpack 16-13 going into the final match at 125 pounds, 8th-ranked Sam Latona met and beat number 4 Jacob Camacho to decide the duel. Latona trailed 4-3 with seconds remaining, but was able to secure a takedown and a 2-point near fall before the horn sounded, tying the score at 16 and delivering the top 10 battle to the Hokies on overall match points 49-48. Coming up on Hokies All Access, Mike Young talks about the importance of one of his players on the basketball team in this week's Coach's Corner. This is Hokies All Access.
Produced by your official local television home of the Hokies. This is Hokies All Access.
And welcome back to Hokies All Access with third quarter action. Virginia Tech men's basketball coach Mike Young had to act quickly when hired on April 7th, 2019, and build a roster to compete in the best conference in the nation, the ACC. Now, one of the key players for Young's team over the last couple seasons has been Wabisa Bede, and Young shares his thoughts on Bede in this week's Coach's Corner.
I'm almost convinced that the most important person in our program since we got here in April of 19 is Wabisa Bede. You know, when you talk about your quarterback, point guard, and his stability, he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to do a whale of a job on Prentice Hub. He's going to do a whale of a job on Keehee Clark. You know, high character, about the right stuff. I mean, he is awesome. So I put a lot of the credit on his shoulder. It's his team. You know, he's a fourth-year guy, and he's played a lot of ball around here. So, you know, pleased with the unit. But I think a large part of that credit certainly goes to Wabisa.
And speaking of Beatty, he is one of 60 NCAA men's and women's basketball student athletes who excel both on and off the court. He was selected as a candidate for the 2020-2021 Senior Class Award. To be eligible for the honor, a student athlete must be classified as an NCAA Division I senior and have notable achievements in 4 areas of excellence. That's community, classroom, character, and the competition, the 4 C's. Now, with the help of our friends at Hokie Vision, here we get to meet the team profile with Wabisa Beatty.
My official visit being here. It's like really like college these past years been going by quickly, and it's been taking it day by day, and I'm so happy I've been here. It's the same road, just be able to put the young guys in their spots, show them what to do, tell them how to understand the game a lot better. It's a different page from high school, especially the freshmen. So just teaching them what to do and how to be comfortable in certain uncomfortable situations. At first, it was kind of hard to adjust to because everybody went home, but only me and John stayed. Yeah, only me and John stayed here, so we were working as much as we could together. I know they're trying to space things out, so it was kind of hard to we try to FaceTime other people. That's what I was trying to do, and when we got back here, we were just trying to be together as much as we could, as much as possible. My undergrad was in communication studies with a minor in sociology. That went well. I liked the process and everything. I wanted to be I chose communication. At first I was undecided, but then I ended up becoming communication because after basketball I wanted to be a coach and everything. So I just thought all the lessons I'm gonna learn throughout my major is gonna help me being a coach down the line. And then now, and for my master's, my degree is in agriculture and life sciences with concentration of leadership. So that's another thing, just another bond for after basketball and everything. Even right now for leadership on the court, I'm just using the skills that I'm teaching, that I'm learning and throughout classes and putting them on the court. We had a plan since my freshman year. So after my sophomore fall, I looked at my graduation track sheet and I looked at her ESET and I asked her, "Do you think I can graduate in 3 years?" She's like, "It's possible, it's gonna be hard." And after that, I think our relationship grew even stronger because I knew that she believed in me that I could graduate in 3 years, so that was a plan of ours, and we achieved it. And it means a lot. I'm the first of my family, you know. Just a blessing to do that. I can just show my younger sister that anything's possible. I'm just happy I did it. Everyone in my family is so happy with me doing it, and doing it in 3 years as well is just a bonus on top of it.
Now, coming up on Hokies All Access, Mike Burnip rejoins me to talk about Virginia Tech men's basketball hoops. This is Hokies All Access. All right, good peeps, welcome back to Hokies All Access. We have round 2 of full booth, and again, I'm joined by the Hall of Famer for Virginia Tech, Mike Burnip. And of course, last week, we only have one game this past week. Your trip down to South Beach, and what a trip it was. I mean, that Miami-Virginia Tech game had more twists and turns than a daytime soap opera. I mean, go back to the end of the game. I mean, Wong with the big shot for Miami, and then Hunter Couture with ice water in his veins hits a 3, sending it to overtime. And then that Mo kept going for Virginia Tech as Virginia Tech pulling out that big win at Miami. And Mike, look at the last part of that game. Just take me through it, because Tech was up by, I think, about 11 in the second half, and you're thinking it's over. And then Miami takes the lead, and then it was just back and forth.
Yeah, it was so similar, Jermaine, to the game in Blacksburg when the Hokies had the big lead. Miami kept chipping away in the second half, and Wong had a shot to win the game at the end, and it just rimmed out. And so the same thing, at the under 8 timeout, the Hokies were up 11, and you think the game is over. But Miami just kept chipping away, coming back, making plays, took the lead. And then, the Hokies get the ball down there at the other end of the court, the far end of the court. And the inbound there ends up almost getting picked off. And you thought it might have been off one of the Hokie fingertips, but they got on mid-court. And that's when Beatty inbounds it. The Hunter Couture is coming down off the baseline, off a screen, from Kevin Aluma. And it looks like the Miami defenders kind of ran into each other a little bit. thinking that maybe they're going to foul him. And shoot, Hunter makes that shot. It was unbelievable to send it to overtime. And then in the overtime period, you know, the Hokies just made enough plays to get the win, especially when Hunter picked up that charge, made the 2 free throws, and they intercept the long inbound 4-point win. Man, you can't script it up. And how about the job Joe Bamasil did? Coming off the bench after Jalen Cohn only played 5 minutes and gets hurt, Joe B comes in there and has career-high minutes and points. And Kevin Luma played almost 43 minutes in that game, Jermaine. And Justin Mutz, 1 foul is all he had. And he gets up 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. Almost had a triple-double. I mean, so, yeah, it was a great win for Coach Young, an important win, 5 guys in double figures. You know, you don't want to lose a game like that after you just lost one to Pitt.
And then the thing is, I think sometimes there are shining moments in a game. I mean, to use the football term, I mean, you look back at the 99 Virginia Tech Hokies football team that played in the national title game, the West Virginia game, a game that probably was gone, but Virginia Tech pulled it out. You look at this game against Miami, what a big win for the Hokies. And I think this could be a win that could catapult them. Because obviously when you look at the ACC tournament down the road, you're going to look at certain games. You obviously want to be in that top 4 because you get the double byes. So that's really a big thing when you're in the top 4 of the ACC tournament.
Yeah, no doubt. And especially, Jermaine, when you think about the fact that the Hokies have had those 2 home games canceled that in all likelihood are not going to be made up, you know, it's hard to win on the road. And the Hokies have had more road games now, right? So, yeah, it's important to get those road wins. And obviously that win down in Miami helped, especially, again, after losing to Pitt. Now you got to take care of home court. You know, these last 6 games, it looks like, you know, hopefully they'll all be on schedule and ready to go. And hopefully the Hokies can take care of business and have some momentum going into that tournament.
And then you look earlier this week, the Miami-UNC game was canceled due to the fact that obviously concern on Miami's end. I mean, there's video out of UNC players partying after they beat Duke. So obviously you got to talk about responsibility. But one thing Mike Young has mentioned about the Virginia Tech basketball team is they're being responsible. So obviously it's a difference there with responsibility, because I know we're dealing with college kids, but still in this era of COVID, you have to be so careful. And Miami didn't want to take a chance against UNC.
Well, that was it. And when we were in Miami, Jermaine, just talking to their people down there, their play-by-play guy and SID, you know, Miami was the only team in the league, the only team that had not had a game canceled because of a COVID issue. And so they were cruising along thinking, okay, everything's great, we're going to go play. And then they come back after their workout or their pregame meal or whatever it was, early afternoon, and then they see the video of those guys out there with no masks on, and they blew a whistle on it. So, you know, you have to applaud them and understand where they're coming from. And on the flip side, the Carolina guys, you know, just irresponsible. You know, they have to take responsibility. And so sad that it happened. You know, you think about the money that's been wasted in travel and hotel stays and meals and whatnot when teams go to arenas and places after they've traveled and they can't play. I mean, it's just sad that that's the world we live in now. And so it's going to be interesting to see the rest of the season, how it plays out. And hopefully the tournament can take place on time and everybody will be healthy and ready to go.
Quick question for you, Mike. Do you feel that North Carolina should forfeit that game, or should the ACC say, hey, you guys were out there being irresponsible, you should forfeit the game? Because, I mean, accidents happen, but this to me was blatantly being irresponsible. Should there be some type of penalty to the North Carolina Tar Heels?
Well, I think it's certainly should be an option on the table, yes, because Miami did their part. They were safe. They got tested. And apparently the Carolina guys got tested too, you know, and they were negative. So, but, you know, you never know. It's one of those things. It's a tough predicament to be in, and there probably should be some kind of penalty, whether it's as strong as the forfeit. Could be a fine, could be in order, especially when you figure that the money that was wasted on travel again.
Yeah, so that's some big news. Well, Mike Burnup, you are not only are you a Virginia Tech Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer all the way around, a Hall of Fame guy. Thank you so much again for being on Full Booth this week. We're going to catch you next week, and we'll talk more Virginia Tech athletics, buddy.
Sounds good, Jermaine. You take care, and it's always good to be on with you because you're a Hall of Famer yourself, brother.
All right, folks, to see all things Hokies, including previous episodes of Hokies All Access, and also all the show, all the good stuff, you can check it out right now on HokiesAllAccess.com. Well, good peeps, That does it for this edition of Hokies All Access. I really thank you so much for watching each and every week. It is a joy to see all you good peeps. I'm Jermaine Ferrell. Have a wonderful and blessed day, everyone. And guess what? Go Hokies!